Chicago is burning again, not with fire, but with power, betrayal, and ambition. Tommy Egan is standing in the middle of it all, building an empire brick by bloody brick. After the chaos of episode 1, one thing is clear. Everyone wants the throne, but not everyone will survive the war that's coming next. Episode 1 left fans breathless. Tommy's move to dominate Chicago's streets wasn't just bold, it was reckless. He made enemies out of allies and proved that no one, not even family, is safe from his ambition. The tension between the Flynn family and the Egan operation hit a boiling point, and it's only going to get worse from here. Tommy's decision to go solo again, after trying to build alliances, shows that he's done playing nice. He wants control, and in episode 2, we'll see him take that desire to dangerous new levels. But power always comes with a price. Diamond is growing suspicious, Jenard is plotting his revenge, and Claudia is playing her own game in the shadows. Every move Tommy makes seems to pull him deeper into a web of deceit that even he might not escape from this time. Episode 2 will likely open with Tommy cleaning up the mess left behind, maybe literally. He'll have to prove his dominance once again, but Chicago isn't New York. Here, every street corner hides an enemy, and every handshake can end with a bullet. There's also the matter of trust. Tommy's circle is getting smaller, and that makes him more dangerous, but also more exposed. His loyalty has always been his greatest strength and his biggest weakness. In episode 2, that theme will play front and center. We'll see him making choices that test his heart and his hustle, choices that might define the entire season. The World of Power Book 4 Force has always been about survival, and right now, Tommy's fighting to stay one step ahead of a city that wants him dead. Still, there's something different about Tommy this season. He's sharper, colder, and more strategic. It's like every lesson from New York and every betrayal from his past has turned him into a new kind of monster, one that plays by no one's rules. Episode 2 will likely show how far he's willing to go to protect his vision of power, even if it means burning every bridge left standing. Because for Tommy Egan, power isn't just a goal, it's an obsession. Power doesn't rest in Chicago, it shifts, it bleeds, and it hunts. By the time episode 2 begins, the city feels like a ticking bomb, and every major player is racing to light the fuse first. Tommy knows it, the Flynns know it, and Diamond. He's caught right in the middle of a war that no one truly controls anymore. Episode 2 will dive deeper into these rivalries, where every choice has consequences and every alliance has an expiration date. Tommy has never been one to wait for opportunity, he makes it. After the chaos of episode 1, he's expected to hit back harder than ever. He's not rebuilding, he's expanding. Episode 2 might show him taking over new corners, forging deals with unexpected faces, and making power plays that shake the city's foundation. But every move he makes sends shockwaves, and those waves are coming back with force. The more Tommy grows, the more enemies he attracts. And this time, the opposition is not just from the streets. It's from inside his circle too. Diamond's loyalty is a coin toss now. He's tired of being used, tired of being the middleman in a game that Tommy always seems to win. Deep down, Diamond wants respect and independence, not orders. Episode 2 might push him toward a breaking point, forcing him to decide whether he stands beside Tommy or stands in his way. Jenard, on the other hand, is waiting for that exact moment. His patience is gone, his pride is wounded, and his hunger for power is growing. Expect him to make a bold move, something that sets him up as a serious threat. The brothers' tension is the kind of slow burn that always ends with fire. Then there's Claudia Flynn, the queen of quiet revenge. She's always been underestimated, but not anymore. Episode 2 could show her reinventing her business, moving in silence, building something that even Tommy won't see coming. Her story might run parallel to Tommy's rise, but don't be surprised if their paths collide again. Both are ruthless, both want to own the city. But the thing about Chicago's power structure is that there's only room for one at the top. And while these players fight for control, the streets are watching. Small crews, new faces, and old connections from Tommy's past could start appearing, each one either a weapon or a weakness. Episode 2 might introduce new soldiers into Tommy's operation, people he thinks he can trust, but trust in this world is poison wrapped in loyalty. The question isn't who joins Tommy next, it's who betrays him first. Meanwhile, the law isn't sleeping. Detective Vargas and the task force are slowly tightening their grip on the drug war. They're watching every transaction, every drop, every move Tommy makes. Episode 2 could raise the tension between the underworld and law enforcement, giving us that Cat Tiempo's rhythm that power fans love, where one wrong call, one loose word, could bring everything down. Tommy thrives in chaos, but this time the chaos feels different. It's smarter. It's personal. His enemies aren't just shooting for his corners. They're coming for his soul. The city feels alive with danger, every dark alley whispering. Rumors of betrayal, every deal echoing with the sound of a trap being set. Episode 2 will push Tommy into situations where he'll have to outthink his enemies, not just outgun them. But that's what makes him Tommy Egan, the man who refuses to die, even when the whole world is digging his grave. He's not looking for peace, he's building a legacy out of war. And as the streets of Chicago turn colder, he's about to prove once again why he's one of the most unpredictable forces in the Power universe. In Episode 2, power won't just shift, it'll explode. And when it does, Tommy will either rise as the king of the ashes or be buried beneath them. Either way, one thing's for sure. Chicago's about to remember exactly who runs these streets. Nothing in Chicago happens by accident. Every handshake hides a knife, and every deal comes with a hidden cost. As Episode 2 unfolds, the streets will start to reveal their secrets, not with explosions or shootouts, but with whispers, looks, and silent betrayals that change everything. The city is moving like a chessboard, and Tommy Egan is right in the middle of it, trying to stay 3 moves ahead of enemies he can't even see yet. Tommy has always been a man of action, not words. But this time, silence is his biggest weapon. Episode 2 could show us a new side of him, less reckless, more calculating. He's watching, learning, waiting for the right time to strike. He knows the people around him aren't loyal, just scared. And fear, in this world, is both the strongest and weakest currency. The problem is, fear doesn't last forever. Sooner or later, someone will make a move, and when they do, Tommy will have to decide whether to crush them or keep them close. Behind closed doors, alliances are shifting like sand. Claudia Flynn is rebuilding her empire piece by piece, using her intelligence as her weapon. She knows brute strength isn't enough. She's using information, manipulation, and money to twist people into her orbit. Episode 2 might show her making secret deals with Tommy's rivals, maybe even forming a new supply chain that threatens his entire operation. But what makes Claudia dangerous isn't her ambition, it's her patience. She doesn't strike fast. She waits until her target feels safe, then pulls the rug out from under them. On the other side of the war, Jenard is plotting something big. He's tired of being a side character in Tommy's story. Expect Episode 2 to start revealing pieces of his plan, maybe a quiet alliance with someone unexpected, maybe a power grab that puts him in direct conflict with both Tommy and Diamond. Jenard doesn't just want revenge, he wants control. And he knows the best way to destroy a man like Tommy isn't to kill him, it's to take everything he's built. Meanwhile, Diamond's conscience is catching up to him. He's caught between the man he wants to be and the man he needs to become to survive. Episode 2 might dig into his struggle, loyalty versus leadership, brotherhood versus business. He's starting to see that in Tommy's world, being a good man is a weakness. And that realization might push him to cross a line he can never come back from. But the real threat might not come from the streets at all. Law enforcement is quietly setting the trap. Detective Vargas and his team are closing in, not with sirens, but with surveillance. Episode 2 could reveal how deep the investigation really goes. Maybe there's an informant in Tommy's crew. Maybe someone close is already feeding the cops. The tension will build slowly, the kind that makes every scene feel like a countdown. You'll start to question everyone, every look, every message, every deal. Because in the Power universe, betrayal always comes from the people you trust the most. And then there's Tommy himself. He's changing. The anger is still there, but now it's mixed with something new, loneliness. He's realizing that power doesn't just isolate you, it consumes you. In episode 2, we might see glimpses of Tommy questioning his path, even if just for a second. The ghosts of his past, the people he's lost, the cities he's left behind, they still haunt him. But Tommy doesn't break. He builds walls higher, fights harder, and buries his pain deeper. The city is turning darker by the minute. Deals are being made in hotel rooms, in parking lots, in dimly lit clubs. People are switching sides faster than bullets fly. Episode 2 will be about strategy, not survival, a test of who can outthink the other before the real war begins. Tommy might win a few battles, but he's already stepping into a war that he can't fully see. By the end of this episode, the lines will be drawn, but the truth will still be hidden. Everyone is pretending to be loyal, but every one of them has a secret agenda waiting to explode. And when the masks finally come off, it won't be about who's right or wrong. It'll be about who's left standing, because in Chicago, power isn't earned. It's stolen. And in episode 2, the thieves are coming out of the shadows. Every empire eventually faces its breaking point. And for Tommy Egan, that moment is closer than ever. Episode 2 won't just test his strength, it will test his soul. The choices he makes now will decide not only who rules Chicago, but who survives it. The streets have stopped playing fair, and even Tommy, with all his power and fearlessness, is starting to feel the cracks forming beneath his feet. This episode is where everything begins to spiral. Loyalty turns into a weapon. Alliances shatter. And every secret that's been buried starts to claw its way back to the surface. Tommy has always lived by one rule: never show weakness. But what happens when the people you trust most start to use that rule against you? In episode 2, the pressure will build from every direction: rival gangs on one side, law enforcement on the other, and betrayal somewhere right in the middle. Tommy is used to fighting enemies he can see, but now he's trapped in a game of shadows, where even his instincts might fail him. Chicago is changing, and the city's pulse is no longer beating in his favor. He's going to have to fight smarter, not just harder, if he wants to stay on top. As the tension rises, the balance of power begins to shift in unexpected ways. Diamond's loyalty starts to waver, not because he hates Tommy, but because he's beginning to understand the cost of standing beside him. Every deal with Tommy feels like a deal with the devil. And in episode 2, that realization might push Diamond to make a choice that will change their partnership forever. On the flip side, Jenard's rage is no longer quiet. He's no longer plotting in the background. He's ready to act. Expect episode 2 to push him into open confrontation, the kind that draws blood and sets the stage for a full-blown war. The brothers' bond is dead, and the streets are about to witness what happens when family becomes the enemy. Claudia Flynn, meanwhile, is turning pain into power. The loss of trust, the betrayals, the bruises, all of it is fueling her comeback. Episode 2 might show her pulling the strings behind a massive shift in the city's drug game. She's tired of being underestimated, tired of watching men destroy what she helped build. And now she's ready to strike from the shadows. Don't be surprised if she orchestrates something that hits both Tommy and the Flynns at once. Something that reminds everyone that she's not just a survivor. She's a strategist, but the real storm isn't coming from the gangs, it's coming from the cops. Detective Vargas is beginning to connect the dots, and in episode 2, those dots start to form a dangerous picture. The law is getting closer, not just to Tommy's operation, but to the people around him. Someone is talking, maybe a soldier, maybe a rival, maybe even someone Tommy would never suspect. This creeping pressure from the police adds a new kind of fear, the kind that can't be solved with a gun. Tommy's about to realize that for all his control on the streets, there are still forces he can't control, and they're closing in fast, emotionally. Episode 2 will peel back another layer of Tommy's character. Beneath the swagger and violence, there's still a man who's haunted by loss, ghost, Lakeisha, Liliana. Those ghosts don't speak, but they linger. They're in every reflection, every hesitation, every decision. This episode might show us a rare glimpse of Tommy's vulnerability, maybe in a moment of silence, maybe in an act that reveals he still has something resembling a heart. But in the world he lives in, showing that kind of humanity is dangerous. It makes him unpredictable. And unpredictability is what makes Tommy Egan the legend he is as the episode moves toward its climax. Everything will feel like it's about to explode. Old grudges resurface, deals collapse, and bodies might start dropping again. The power structure in Chicago is about to shift violently, and when it does, no one will come out clean. Tommy's war is no longer about expansion, it's about survival. And survival in this city means sacrificing pieces of yourself until there's nothing left but ambition. By the end of episode 2, one truth will stand above everything else. Control is an illusion. Tommy might still be standing, but the world around him will be burning. The alliances that once protected him will be gone, and the enemies he thought were finished will rise again. Every victory will come with a loss, and every step forward will drag him deeper into darkness. But that's the price of power, and Tommy Egan is willing to pay it, no matter how high it gets. Episode 2 won't be about who wins or loses. It'll be about who's willing to cross the line and never look back. And when the smoke clears, one thing will be certain. The real war for Chicago has only just begun.